This episode is brought to you by Manifest Distilling. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Speakeasy's unofficial third host, whiskey. Manifest Distilling is Jacksonville's premier organic distillery. These guys aren't just making booze, they're crafting art in a bottle. Everything they make is certified organic, locally sourced, and ridiculously smooth. Whether you're sipping a neat pour of their straight bourbon, which is what I usually drink during the show, or you're mixing up a killer cocktail with their Florida Botanical Gin, you're getting the best quality without the chemicals. And if you're in the Jacksonville area, you've got to check out their tasting room. It's got that speakeasy meets modern lounge vibe. So whether you're looking for a place to grab a drink on a night out or just meeting up with friends after work, Manifest Distilling is the perfect spot.
We're back. Can't believe it. I know, man. It's pretty awesome.
Another episode.
Really awesome conversations at Speakeasy Jacks.
Yep.
Pretty excited about it today, though, man. It's going to be awesome today.
Yep. I've been looking forward to this one for a while.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep. So what happened this weekend? What'd you do?
So this weekend was a little bit low key, but I do have something new that I've gotten into that I want to share with you. So I started dance lessons. And
yeah, you look like a dancer.
Don't I look?
So fleet of foot.
Not just out of pure fun,
right,
although it has been fun.
Yeah.
But for a great cause.
What is it?
So Jacksonville Children's Chorus, our
Okay.
neighbors right down the street from the chamber, do a huge fundraiser every year, Dancing with the Stars, First Coast Dancing with the Stars. Yeah. And so they invited me to be one of the contestants on that. And so reluctantly, I kind of agreed, got bullied into it. But
I'm sure it was really reluctant.
You know how much I don't like the spotlight.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to say yes, but I did. And I started doing lessons. So what they do is they'll pair you with a dance professional. And then leading up to the event, which is on April 26th, you take lessons and then you compete. But weren't you a part of one of those?
This is the problem. I did not want the person we're talking today.
No, but
I didn't want him to know that I was in Dancing with the Stars.
I think even if our viewers Google Daniel Davis Dancing with the Stars on YouTube,
yeah, this is great.
They can watch your routine. So I'm trying to follow in your footsteps for a great cause.
Yeah.
This is to raise money for young people who can receive music education as well as performance opportunities that wouldn't otherwise be able to afford it. So we're raising money to try to help those kids out.
It's a great program. I love everything that they do, and they're great chamber members, and so it's pretty exciting to see you a part of it. Yeah. And all I got to do is tell you that I did win.
I know, and
so there's
no pressure.
There's no place for second. So
what I thought I would do is just a shameless plug for myself on this show.
You just did it.
April 26th. If people want to know how to give to this cause, they can go to my Facebook page, which is TJ Ward, and the link is right there at the top. Every dollar that is donated through my page is a vote for me.
Okay.
So I'm trying to win this thing too and follow in your footsteps.
All right, let's do it. I can't wait to see you. Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
It's been so fun, though, learning how to salsa and do all these dance moves that I have no clue about. Why are you laughing? Because you're trying to picture it.
I cannot wait to see. Hopefully you don't pull any of the middle linebacker moves.
Hopefully I don't pull any muscles. That's what I'm hoping for. But my dancer, she's great. She's a professional and is very patient with me. So
did you hit the gym?
I did.
All right.
Well, I did.
What'd you do?
I mean, so I'm doing a lot of strength training these days, zero cardio, which is what I prefer.
That's exactly what we would expect.
Although I do need to introduce some of that, implement some of that for heart health, but it's not my favorite. So what about you? I heard you had a pretty tough.
A crazy day. Rebecca and I hit the gym 2 hours lifting. We went Stairmaster for 30 minutes.
Did you do every possible move in the gym?
Every
exercise?
We blew it out. And then after we did Stairmaster, we go to the sauna for 20 minutes and absolutely sweated it out. And then I walked 18 holes on the golf course the same day. So my physical exertion was at the top. Pretty good day. I was pretty excited about that.
That's it?
Spending time with Gabe and the kids. And, Rebecca didn't have to work this weekend, so it was pretty cool.
Those are always fun.
Have a low key weekend.
Yeah.
But today we got a good one.
Yep.
We got a good one.
It's going to be fun.
Somebody I have spent the last 25 years with, dear friend of mine, both professionally but also personally.
Right.
We spent time at City Hall together, and I'm sure you'll hear a little bit about that. But the guy's got some crazy stories. I think you're going to really enjoy listening and learning a little bit more about who John Peyton is. So without further ado, former mayor of the city of Jacksonville and president of Gate Petroleum, former chamber chair, and a dear friend of mine. Hopefully he doesn't do anything to embarrass me too much today, but we're pretty excited about having him on the show. So John Peyton, why don't you come on up? You're the next victim.
We are. Victim. Yeah.
Good to see you, Mayor.
Good to see you both. This sure is a lot of work to get TJ a date.
I know.
Is that what this is all about?
That's what this is all about. All of this is for that purpose.
Well, tell him the name of your dance instructor.
Tatiana.
Oh, of course.
It's exactly what you'd expect.
And Daniel, you danced. How did we not know that?
Well, the problem is now you know.
Now we know. I'm sure there's footage out there somewhere.
There is.
And I'm going to get a hold of it.
I'll send you the link.
Right.
I'll send you the link. You won't even have to hunt for it.
It's just amazing. Amazing I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right.
It is. It is something
I've learned
that,
something.
Are there any things that he doesn't know about you? That's one of the questions we should ask.
Yeah, and they're not going to be revealed today.
Because we have a list of questions.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have some really nice cups that you brought in here today,
those
Mayor.
nice cups.
I cannot wait to enjoy the beverage that you brought. Usually we have a couple of beverages at Speakeasy Jack, so it's kind of like just a cool conversation.
Right.
And I know that obviously you are an incredibly healthy guy. You don't
try to be.
Yeah, and you're focused on intaking things that are going to be healthy for you. I've experienced your original protein drink, and I told TJ that he had to try this thing out. So we're going to try the protein drink out.
Pour it up?
Anxious. Let's get it started.
It looks delicious.
Well,
I mean, look at
it's
that.
a little gritty.
I love that gray color.
It's a little gritty, and it's got just about everything you can imagine in it.
Well, you got to tell everybody what.
Okay, so we don't have a whole lot here.
Is this a proprietary blend?
It is not really proprietary. Well, I guess the fact that I make it every morning, it makes it somewhat proprietary. It's really just a whey protein shake that has a lot of frozen fruit, vegetables, fiber, and water base, and oatmeal, and it's got flaxseed oil.
So every morning, you take all of that stuff, throw it in a blender.
Yeah. And I think it's really because I'm lazy in the morning. It's easier than making a breakfast. I know I need something.
Right.
Having nothing doesn't work for me. And this, I just throw it in the blender, and I've raised my boys on it. They love it. And I think it's the reason they're so much taller than I am, honestly. I mean, the protein.
Well, they're pretty good looking too. I mean, what's the protein?
You probably thank their mom for that. But I think, it's just, I think the protein is important. And for me, I found that balance of what works for me.
Yeah.
And so I've been carrying this thing around. I remember when I was in office, I literally dragged this thing around in the mornings, and I'm like, what is in that? And it's kind of oozing down the sides of the cup. It's not very attractive. But it's got everything.
Who put you onto it?
My good friend Zimbolis turned me on to this probably 35 years ago. And so he introduced me to a guy who's kind of a health coach who gave a seminar here in Jacksonville, and Joe Dillon was his name. And he turned us on to kind of the basics of it, and it just tastes good. It's easy.
Yeah.
And
let's try it. Can we cheers? Can we
toast?
Let's
cheers. Yeah, here we go.
So
hold on.
Got to get the logo right.
Yeah.
Product placement.
Cheers.
There you go.
There
we go.
All right, we're trying it.
Yeah, it's a good.
Actually good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
A hint of chocolate.
Chocolate whey protein.
I get back notes of
what type of protein do you drink?
It's whey. It's whey protein.
But do you have a specific brand you use? Or
Energy First is the one, and it's available online. Is the one I purchased. It has good flavor, and it's pretty pure whey protein. So, but there are a lot. Listen, there's a lot on the market. They're probably all good. But
there's some blueberries and some
banana.
Banana. That's what it was.
Frozen blueberries. Frozen banana. Lasts forever.
Do you put peanut butter in it at all?
I put almond butter.
Almond butter.
Because I have a lot of friends that have reactions to peanut butter. So I've just gotten used to it. And almond's a little milder, not as strong. Still a lot of protein.
So is it true that when you were the mayor, you gave all of your executive staff protein drinks for Christmas?
Oh my
I mean, I
gosh.
know you're a big gift giver.
I gave them multivitamins. I gave them anything to boost their immune system. You know, you're in that office, you're under so much stress, and nutrition obviously goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
Sleep and mental sanity too. So I was constantly giving them things that I thought they would value. I later learned they really didn't value them. Is that true? Their bottles are probably still sitting on the shelf. But yeah, I was really fortunate to have a great role model in my father. Who's been a health nut forever. Always exercised, always ate well, never drank any soda fountain drinks or any kind of.
What does he call soda fountain drinks?
Belly wash.
Belly wash.
Yeah, and I think just being exposed to that my whole life, someone who really was committed. Now he's 93 years old and he's in great shape. It's paid off, and so I've been lucky to have that exposure, and I just like to feel better. And that's, I really don't drink much, maybe a couple times a year. Not because I'm trying to prove a point, but I just don't feel as good. Drinking alcohol has a lot of sugar. It's probably not a good environment to be talking about this. Alcohol has a lot of sugar, and it disrupts the sleep cycle, which we know that sleep is kind of our superhero.
So Mayor, for Christmas, I got
it's a Whoop.
A friend of mine sitting next to me bought me a Whoop band.
Yep.
And I am addicted.
Obsessed.
It's all about it.
I
got the aura
with it, and you can see like my recovery every night when I don't have a drink versus my recovery when I do.
You notice when you drink, you're wide awake usually at 2 o'clock at night.
Super clear.
2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And there's a reason in the metabolic process. But yeah, I track sleep and resting heart rate. And
how many hours do you get a night?
Not enough, probably. I get usually about 7. I'd like to get more, but I don't really have it in me to get more. And trying to get enough deep sleep is always a challenge.
Yeah.
That's really my weakness, is getting deep sleep.
I got 2 hours. I averaged 2 hours of deep sleep this entire week.
2 hours for the whole week
of deep sleep every night.
Every night?
Yes.
See, I'm lucky to get 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
the
probably
key.
Not very
it really is the
listeners.
Key. The deep sleep for physical,
right,
and then the REM for your mental recovery.
Right.
But I'm totally obsessed with it, and it really is changing the way I act. And
it's just, I think you become more deliberate in the way you approach when you go to bed, how you sleep. I eat a lot earlier as a result. I've noticed that works. And I try to, on weekends, I try to sleep in. I don't do it naturally.
I can't
try to sleep in. It's hard, especially if you're in a pattern. But one thing, a cheat is taking a nap. And if your score is not great, and you take a nap. I moved my score up 5 points this weekend on Saturday just by getting a quick nap. And
I haven't bought into I probably should track it somehow, but I'm afraid of what it's going to tell me. And you mentioned not eating late. So I usually eat dinner pretty early, but that's because I'm hungry all the time. And then I end up eating again before bed.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe some
how old are you, TJ? How old are you?
I'm almost 51.
Almost 50, yeah.
I'll be 51.
As you get older, you'll figure those things out. But eating is better early.
You mentioned some things I think a lot of our viewers could relate to: stress in their lives, feeling a little overwhelmed, and you mentioned providing some resources for your staff that you had at the mayor's office when you were, in that position to try to help them. Are there some things over the years that you have noticed that have been helpful to you? Like, do you take certain supplements, vitamins?
I'm not a big supplement guy. Probably should take more. But the thing that works best for me is exercise. That is critical to me and for my attitude, for my energy levels, for my stress. And I can just tell if I'm not going to the gym or I haven't been, I just don't feel as good and don't think as clearly. So that's been key for me. And
I'm the same way. Stress management for me is a good workout at the gym.
Right.
There are a lot of people that would say, yeah, but you don't, you're not in the season of life where you have 3 kids to take care of or what. So what would you say to maybe a mom who's trying to figure out, how to deal with some of that stuff? And
it's a lot to balance. It's a matter of priorities. And I think, what I found is I'm a better person to those around me if I carve out that time.
I agree.
And where it really hit me was actually in the mayor's office. And my first term, my first year in office, I actually came down with shingles. Didn't talk about it a lot, but it was absolutely stress induced.
Was it from the city council?
It was from the courthouse. It was the courthouse that did it. And
good. I'm glad it wasn't the city.
Did this guy play a part in it at all?
No, Daniel. I could usually count on Daniel. He wasn't the problem case, but the level of stress I was experiencing, and I just remember thinking, okay, this job is not going to take my health. I've got to do something. So I just really became very, very committed to regular exercise, and that really helped me cope.
So important.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have your health, you can't be good for anything else.
Right.
For
That's
your
right.
family or for your
health is the
job.
new wealth, right? It's
Yeah.
everything. If you don't have it, nothing else matters. And but you have to be deliberate about it, and it takes focus and energy and concentration to stick with it.
This dude's an athlete. I'm not gonna lie to you about it. We were on a trip one time and had a pull-up bar opportunity to get a little workout in, and I was like, "Hey, Mayor, you wanna try a little pull-up competition?" And I'm thinking I'm gonna blow this dude out of the water, and I knock out 12, and so I'm waiting on the mayor to get up there and knock out his 4. When he got about 25 and he's still talking to me doing pull-ups,
I don't
have as much to lift.
So mad. I was telling you, I wasn't okay the rest of the day, and I've been working for the last 5 years to try to catch up to him.
So I think there should be a rematch.
I think that there should be a rematch.
How many are you doing now, Daniel?
Well, it depends on if you do them with a weighted vest or not.
Depends on how many you're doing.
Yeah, right. It depends on who goes first.
I'm doing my pull-ups now with a 20-pound weighted vest.
Yeah.
But I think I could keep up with you right now.
I think we probably need to think about a rematch.
Yeah.
For reference, how much do you weigh?
A 174.
Yeah.
0.6.
150.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too far off.
I'm about 215, 220, depending on what day it is.
Yeah.
How many can you knock out? Like if you were just going
good
straight,
form, straight form, probably 12 to 15.
Yeah, that's probably average.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I was just going to tell you that he smoked me in the pull-up. So he doesn't just talk a good game.
Now, were you an athlete growing up? Did you play sports?
I played tennis growing up. Not really. I was a runner to a degree, but not a great runner, not a great tennis player. But I enjoyed it.
Have you done the pickleball thing yet? I know that's pretty
pickleball.
popular.
Yeah, it's hard not to get addicted to pickleball.
It is.
I haven't done it yet.
So much
but I
fun.
want
So
to.
much fun.
It is fun. It is absolutely fun.
It starts off everybody laughing and joking, and then all of a sudden it gets serious.
You can tell who the competitors
Absolutely
are once you start playing again.
And then the orthopedics kick in. And,
then you blow the Achilles.
I can't tell you people I know that have had injuries, but it's a great time.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is just do something that gets your heart rate up, like you're active, doing something. Right. I think just even thinking about my own dad who passed in the last year, he was really good and healthy until he quit moving. Right. And then it went downhill really quickly after that. I mean, he lived to be 87, so good ripe old age, but I could tell.
Mr. Peyton swims in the ocean once a week.
And that's why he's still doing
he's crushing it. And he always asks, like if he sees me, he says, "Hey, do you want to swim in the ocean with me?" And he's like, I don't really care about you swimming. I just want the sharks to get you, not get me.
He can swim faster than you.
Increases his odds if he has more swimmers of not getting bitten.
Yeah. Well, so talking about your dad and what it was like growing up, tell us a little bit about the Peyton house whenever you were coming up and what that was like.
Well, Dad, gosh, I feel so fortunate to have, a dad that not only was such a great role model, but he's still here and I still work with him on a daily basis. He's always been about business. Our relationship was really based on business, really understanding the business and knowing the business and teaching the business. And that's kind of, that really his firstborn is the business. Yeah. I was second and Hill was third and then 3 more followed after that. So, but yeah, he's just extremely disciplined, extremely committed to his work, and it's paid off. I mean, his focus and tenacity has been a good thing for, I think, our family and certainly for our business and our community. I'd like to believe.
Yeah. So when you came along, Gate was already running. It was already rolling, right?
Yeah. So Gate, Gate was started in 1960. I was born in 64. Okay. So it was basically a chain of service stations. He had learned the business from his father working for someone in the same business. So he opened his first in 60. So I came along in 64. And really it was primarily just service stations for most of my childhood. And that's kind of most of my exposure to the business was, pumping gas and checking oil and cleaning restrooms and things like that. So it didn't really start to diversify and expand significantly until the 80s, the mid 80s. And that's when they started branching out into other things. I was still in school. I was high school and then college. I didn't come back and join the business really till the late 80s.
Okay.
And
But you developed your work ethic by pumping gas, and you said cleaning restrooms, and just
it's funny. When we were running for mayor in 2003, we talked about that, and no one believed it. No one believed this. There's no way he pumped gas and cleaned restrooms, but I promise you, it absolutely happened. And that was a great experience. I mean, that's really where you learn about the basics, blocking and tackling of customers and customer service and expense control and competition and how to do better than the others. And it was really I think fundamental to my experience in business.
It's not, and I would tell you this too, T. It's not normal that a family-run business, by the time you get to second and third generation, usually they start falling off. And obviously, the Peytons and Gate has turned the paradigm on that. But I would tell you, Rebecca and I, we were out at PV last summer in
when you say PV for
all
the viewers.
Well, and I think Mayor, just tell her, maybe everybody doesn't know what Gate is.
Yeah.
And I know,
Gate's it's a diversified conglomerate, basically. We do over $1 billion in sales each year. We're in the retail business, which is the stores and the car washes, which you would see around Jacksonville. We operate in 4 states in the retail division, but we're also in the hospitality business. Ponte Vedra Inn and Club, the Lodging Club, Epping Forest Yacht Club, and River Club are a part of our hospitality portfolio. And then we're big into land development. We developed South Point Office Park, Deerwood Park, Durbin Park. And so Durbin Park is our most recent and active development today in St. Johns County. So we're in a lot of different things. And so, when you say PV, Ponte Vedra Club is what you were referencing.
So Rebecca and I were out there for dinner, and I said, Beck, Connor is the host tonight, and he's showing people to the tables, and he was so professional. Connor and Kent are the mayor's sons, and I think Kent works at the car washes, and Connor works at and then you just go, that's exactly what you would want to see. Not only the success, you want your kids to have more than you did when you were growing, but you want them to be as hungry as you were when you were out there trying to make it work. And you can absolutely see it with your boys.
Well,
and
they've enjoyed the business. Listen, selfishly, I'm just delighted they're taking to it. I hope they continue to have interest in the business. That'd be my dream. I think it's every father's dream to be able to work with your boys and your children. But they seem to love it, and they're a lot of fun, quite frankly.
Now, Connor was with you in London, right?
Yes.
So I got to meet him.
Yes.
Impressive young man. Very, very funny kid.
I'm a little biased, but he's a great guy.
But
both of them are great.
Mayor, it's not the Davis boys love your boys.
Yeah.
And they just these guys are some of the nicest, funniest guys to hang around.
Well,
it's got to make you proud.
The Davis families, that's the standard. They're the standard bearer on how you want your kids to show up.
Appreciate that.
But it's but I think I think having that work ethic is really important, and you start early. You just you talk about how you make money and how business works and how it can add up to something more significant when you start early. So, but yeah, I think it's it's a challenge for second and third generation and beyond in family business. The statistics are terrible for families that actually succeed. So we're very deliberate about that, and we've gone to a lot of seminars and a lot of workshops on how you do it. How do you really make sure there is a work ethic and a drive and some ambition when even though there's opportunity readily available.
Absolutely, being deliberate about it,
right,
and talking through with your kids about why this is important in the next generation.
Right.
It's I try to do that on a little lower level with with my kids, that they have way more than I ever did.
Right.
But I want them to want to.
And that transparency, I think in the old days it was you just didn't share, any personal financial information or work information, and we try to be as transparent as possible.
Yeah.
And say, look, this is the dilemma we're facing today at work. What do you think? What do you think we should do? Here are the options, and this is what we're facing, and let them try to start problem solving. Be very, very open about the numbers, and that has helped, I think, and it's also sparked an interest.
And your siblings are involved too. I know Forrest and Hill.
So I have 3 brothers. The 3 of us are all in the business. And then I have 2 sisters, both that live in New York, and they're both in the arts, and they live on the same block, ironically.
Wow.
But yeah, Hill is 6 years younger, and he's really involved with the car wash part of our business and doing a great job with that. And Forrest is relatively new to our business, and we're excited to have him back. He's been in Chicago in graduate school, and so he's working in our fuel service division, which has been a great experience for him. So we all do really well together, and there's enough room in the business to where we can all have our own areas and make our own difference without stepping on each other. So
tell you what, I see Gate gas stations popping up all over the place, and I think about how it has developed from just a fuel provider to now this convenience store where you can go in and find all kinds of different things. Can you just talk about kind of the progression of how that came to be?
Well, so we were just service station. We were Gate service station basically. We had full service. That's when I was working in a high school student. It was full service. It has morphed and evolved over time, and we're continuing to morph and evolve. But the introduction of the convenience store was a big seismic change for us, which really kind of started in the 70s and in the early 80s. And now we're getting to the food service business in a significant way. And most of our stores now have kitchens that have been installed, and we're starting to roll out, made to order food, which is going to be fantastic. Daniel, I know you're a big fan of the pizza.
I mean, they're freshly tossed in the bag.
That's right. Yeah.
John, I do want to know, so here's my thing. Like, I try to eat clean.
Yeah.
Every day during the week, except for Friday evening. I have one meal where I just eat whatever I want. A lot of times it's pizza.
Pizza, right? It's good.
But I always go into Gate and I buy the cookies, the fresh baked cookies that are right next to the register.
Right.
I love them all. The
Okay.
white chocolate macadamia nut.
That's the best.
And then I buy a little pint of Bluebell from your little freezer section, and that's my dessert.
You go all out.
So
TJ.
I do.
Yeah.
It's as many calories as you can consume in
Right.
one meal. Haven't tried the pizza yet. I usually go elsewhere for that.
Right.
But maybe I'll,
we got great pizza.
Daniel speaks so highly of it.
Right.
Maybe I'll try it.
Well, he makes fun of our pizzas being square.
Well, I mean,
reminds him of the lunch. Remember
it's
back
very
in the day?
efficient.
I just,
the
I can
oven is-
imagine the
pans are
sweet
square,
lady
the oven's
throwing
square.
the
It's very
square
efficient.
pizzas up.
We're not
I mean,
tossing it. He says, "How do you toss a square pizza?" It's
I think they toss it and then put it in the pan and kind of make it square, right?
that's
Daniel, you don't
probably-
need to worry about those details.
Okay,
It's a delicious
just-
pizza, and it's fresh, and it's delicious.
Right.
That's what matters.
But whoever came up with the cookie recipe and the opportunity to make it available,
Right.
that person deserves a raise. If I could just kind of
Good.
speak on their behalf,
Good.
really good
I'll
cookies.
pass along your suggestion.
So, Mayor, you're one of the hardest working guys I've ever met. I remember watching you during your campaign, and you were everywhere. And clearly you were there to win, and that was it. You weren't messing around.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably have one of the best jobs in Jacksonville right now. I've got a pretty
Depends on what
cool
day you ask.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
But growing up, we're asking all the folks we talked to, because we've had some pretty bad jobs.
Yeah.
What was your worst job that you've ever had?
Well, I held office.
Mayor of Jacksonville.
No, that was the hardest. That was one of the hardest jobs, but probably one of the most gratifying and rewarding too. So I'm just grateful for that opportunity. I had some really bad jobs. I grew up on a horse farm, which most people don't know. My parents divorced when I was 1, so I ended up moving to Gainesville with my mother. She went there to get a master's degree at University of Florida, and so she was into horses, and so I grew up on a horse farm. And so for after school work, I would literally go shovel out the neighbors' barns, which is a nasty, lonely job. And that's why I don't really care much for horses to this day. I'm not amused by them. I don't ride them. I don't want to feed them. I don't want to clean up after them. So that was probably the worst. But then, when you work in a service station, you're cleaning restrooms. That's what you do. I mean, it's part of it. And it's actually pretty rewarding to finish cleaning, and it looks great and it smells great. And
About 5 minutes.
You can check the box. I worked at a construction site, and one summer in college, the townhomes of Big Tree and Mandarin. And I was so low on the ladder that I literally was moving just piles of debris from one place to the next, just like dirt and rocks, and it required no skill. And that was probably my motivation to go to college.
Yeah.
So this I do
We
not
have a
want-
couple of those.
Right,
jobs.
right. You just don't want to do this forever, and it's hot, so those were the challenging jobs. But clearly I've had some great opportunities along the way.
We have some really bad ones. grew up, we met in 8th grade. So we kind of had jobs along the way that were
8th grade.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just one popped into my head. We worked at a pool store, and people would bring in their pool water to get tested so they could find out what. And they'd, on the west side, instead of allergy, it was they had allergies in their pool.
They had allergies.
Instead of algae.
Instead of algae,
They
it
said,
allergies.
yeah, I think I got some allergy in my pool.
They bring in a vial of
And
their allergy.
we had a buddy that, so they had this like a magnet that would spin the thing around and mix the water up, and you drop a couple drops in it to tell you if its pH balance was too high or too much chlorine, and it would turn pink or blue, and it would tell you what you needed. And our buddy was colorblind.
Oh.
And remember that?
He would
He
test the water.
He would look at it like he was testing it, and he'd lean over and just goes, "Is it pink or is it blue?"
We had a red-green deficiency. It's really common.
Yeah. So, but that was just the tip of the iceberg for our bad jobs. But it did help.
But that's part of it,
yeah,
right?
it is.
Part
Working
of it.
hard.
That same company, we used to go out and hand dig swimming pools, above ground pools, because you'd countersink them, a foot
So
or 2
you
feet.
still dig a hole for an above-ground pool?
Yeah, for a little bit.
It wouldn't be like your 6-foot hole, but you had to,
Just
trying
to chop roots up to
Yeah,
get them
right.
out of the
It's
way.
awful.
Just
That's
back-breaking
physical.
labor.
That's,
and
that's good. That's
the
good exposure.
100-degree
Yeah.
Florida heat. So,
That's good stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Office Images. When was the last time you walked into an office and thought, wow, this space actually makes me want to work here? A thoughtfully designed workplace isn't just about aesthetics. It helps with attracting and retaining top talent. Office Images works with companies to create functional, inspiring environments that make the return to the office feel less like a chore and more like an upgrade. From start to finish, whether you're designing a brand new space or giving your current one a much needed refresh, they'll bring the workplace of the future to life. So
character.
We after the character building part, we got to move on in our career a little bit.
Right.
So spend a little time in City Hall. Tell us a little bit about your experience in City Hall. Do you have any highs? What was your
well, Daniel, you were there for all of it. And I had the pleasure of serving with Daniel. And that was where our friendship really started. And you were council president and a great partner. Listen, the experience was so full of different encounters, and it's kind of hard to narrow it down and summarize it.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl was just an amazing opportunity for our city, and for me personally, it was just a lot of fun. Watching our city just glow. I think we exceeded expectations, but the expectations were very low, and the national media had a good time beating us up on that. But that was really a pinnacle moment. That was certainly the high. There were some lows. We had a rash of murders that we were dealing with that really affected me personally. I was very troubled by what was happening then. We had some challenging projects with Better Jacksonville Plan, getting the courthouse out of the ground, and God rest his soul, Sam Musa made that happen. And of course, meeting presidents was great. Being able to interact with several presidents while I was in office was amazing, and great governors. I miss the diversity of people and the diversity of topics because just each day is just filled, and this from service at multiple levels, that you're just constantly exposed to really interesting people with interesting stories. And my work now is a lot more predictable and controlled, surrounded by a lot of the same people every day. Great people I enjoy working with. But the diversity of issues is missing, and I do miss that part.
Yeah. I think about the highs. I mean, obviously we dealing with the pension crisis in Jacksonville while we were there and trying to plug $60 million gaps in the budget was tough. Every year was tough.
Every year was tough.
We had to focus on that.
We had to make some hard calls.
Yeah.
There were unpopular calls, but I'm proud of those decisions. I can't imagine what this community would look like had we not done some of the things that we had to do, Daniel.
Yeah.
But they were unpopular at the time, and I think the electorate really doesn't reward good behavior a lot of times. There are some things that have to be done that are necessary and important when you have office holders that are truly burdened by the facts. things that have to be done, and that's what you're there for. And that oftentimes means, making the hard call and doing what's best for the city, even though it may not be best for your future political career. And I think a lot of folks in office really struggle with that. And I'm sympathetic. I've been in office. I know what it's like to face re-election. But I think one of the teachings I walked away from was that this community really does want to be led.
Yeah.
And they really want to know the facts. They want to be burdened with the facts. And when you give them the facts and you share with them the dilemmas that you face and the choices you have, they usually always land up in the right place. And shame on us as office holders if we don't do that. If we don't go out and say, look, these are the options. This is the kind of community you want to live in. Take your pick. Which city do you want to live in? You want a city that believes in itself and invests in itself, even though it may cost me a little bit more in my property taxes or in my fees? Or do you want to just diminish this place because of a declining revenue source? So, we made some hard calls. And Daniel, you were in the chair.
Yeah.
Daniel was president of the council during some of those most difficult moments where we had to do the right thing, even though it wasn't politically expedient. I'm proud of those things, even though they're not the kind of things you would want to run for office touting. They're important. They're important for.
Yeah, I think about probably one of the most critical issues you led on was violent crime in the community. And I would tell you that no one can argue with the implementation of the Jacksonville Journey. And you see the crime. And it wasn't just an enforcement. It was definitely focused on prevention and intervention and enforcement. And Mayor, you brought that into the city, and it changed Jacksonville forever.
Well, and I listen. I considered our office really to be the convener. We brought in probably 120 community leaders. We tasked them with the assignment of, look, what can we do? What is being done around this country? What are the best practices that we can adopt and bring here? And what is the cost for that? And so they made the recommendations, did a great job. We were able to sell it to the city council, and we passed some major initiatives that I think moved the needle. If you look at the way the crime fell at that time, it really made a difference, which is very rewarding. That was a tough issue, and it continues to be a challenge here, although crime did drop pretty significantly this year, which is great news. But you've got to invest on the front end. Kids don't just suddenly wake up and become violent. There is a cultivation cycle that starts very early, and if you get these kids and you kind of snag their intellect early and get them engaged, it makes a difference. So the prevention and intervention piece was new and fairly different for us to invest in that, and I think it made a difference, and I think we should need to continue that work.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I was just going to say, I think we're all biased and would agree that we believe Jacksonville is one of the greatest cities in the entire country to live in. And,
we're so lucky.
Yeah, we're so fortunate, committed to, helping it grow and be everything it can be. But both of you having led at high levels in this great city, I wonder what you learned about the people of Jacksonville and the investment they're willing to make and the type of people that live here, because by and large, the people that view this could be Jacksonville residents, but there's probably some people outside of Jacksonville that'll see this, maybe even people thinking about moving here.
All right.
What would you say about the community here and the people that live here that you've learned?
Listen, we are so lucky. This place is, it's not really a secret anymore, but one of the best kept secrets. We have a wonderful business climate, a diversified economy. We're not based on retirement or tourism like the rest of the state. We're the youngest city in Florida. Our geography is spectacular with unlimited coastlines and great temperatures. And our downtown is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous downtown. The bones are great, and we have a lot coming that's going to make it even better. I think for people who want to get engaged with their community, this community is very open and receptive to involvement, unlike some southern cities where if your blood's not blue, you just don't get involved in. So I think we've got so many things going well here. But it does require investment. The number one killer of business in America is undercapitalization, failure to invest in the business adequately to allow it to grow. And I think the very same thing can be said for cities. Yeah. You have to invest. And the reality is taking collectively a little bit from everybody makes a huge difference to the city coffers, where you can then have a better park system or more infrastructure, safer streets. So I think we have the potential to be even greater, but it's going to take more investment. I have argued ever since being in office and since office that we are undercapitalized as a city. We probably need to do more on the revenue side. We have some very bold plans. The stadium is an expensive venture. We need a new jail. We'd like to have a convention center at some point. We have infrastructure needs that are ongoing.
Yeah.
But it requires investment, and we shouldn't be afraid to invest in our city.
Yeah.
And just, no one wants to pay more, but if you know what you're going to get for it and what the city's going to look like, there's a pretty good case to be made that it's a sound investment. It'll improve my quality of life, probably my home value and my work experience.
Yeah, I think about pioneers like the place we're sitting in right now.
Right.
Manifest Distilling, willing to go first and come downtown and create a business opportunity and a place for people to come and enjoy a beverage, whether you're drinking alcohol or not. Mm-hmm. What a great opportunity to gather, here in a place like this and near the stadium, and just thinking about the opportunities other leaders could have or business leaders could have to, come join what Manifest has done and others like it.
This is a great story. Yeah. What they've done here is a great story. And across the street, Four Seasons coming out of the ground. Yeah. A stadium that's going to be second to none. A lot of excitement. The residential component to downtown, which we've been advocating at the Chamber for many years, is coming together. So there are a lot of positive things happening, and it's going to be fun to watch.
I think about as you led the Chamber probably 5 or 6 years ago, we have companies that are looking to move out of climates that are not as business friendly, and they want to find a place that has a workforce and they have quality of life for their employees. And time again, the people that are either leading those, we have a major company in town today that's looking at Jacksonville, and it's the community, it's the people that sell. It's the final sale. It's like the closer that comes in on a big deal that we just showcase our community, and they don't ever want to leave. They come here, they don't really even know what Jacksonville's about. Once they get here, they don't want to go anywhere else. They want to raise their families here, and they want to grow their companies here.
And anyone we bring here, you usually cannot pry them out of here with a crowbar.
Yeah, that's true.
They leave their company before they leave Jacksonville. So we've got a good story. Jacksonville still is relatively unknown, I think, in the big picture. But those who come here usually love what they see, and you can't get them out of here once they get here.
So talking about investment, you're making some major investments in your company along the way. One of those investments I'm very interested in, as you could tell, we talk a lot about fitness and trying to make yourself better. I know that you're focused on this theory of longevity and who lives longer than other communities and why. We've talked about that a lot. And I know you're making a major investment out at Ponte Vedra. When I was in London, I had the opportunity to work out in a gym that had all techno gym equipment. It is insane there. It's the normal equipment that you're working out on. You realize how quickly it's just not as advanced as this techno gym equipment is. Can you tell T a little bit about what you saw in your
just backing up, we are making a significant investment in Ponte Vedra Inn and Club. We think the future of the club business is all about health, fitness, and longevity. Social clubs like Ponte Vedra used to be about drinking. It's now about exercise and good health, and we want to be the best at that. So we're building a new fitness facility and a new surf club. Our surf club was becoming quite dated. So those projects are underway. In fact, today we put the first precast in the ground this morning, which is very exciting after 5 years of planning, basically. So one of the projects as we develop this new sports complex is really what equipment we're going to use. So Daniel, we were in London together. I left there, went to Italy to see Technogym. They're headquartered in Italy. And they just have a phenomenal offering. There's so much technology now out there with fitness, and there's so much knowledge, and finding a company that's really dialed in is going to be important. So Technogym is, I think, at the forefront from everything I can see. There are other great companies out there that do a good job, but we're probably going to end up with them. We're still negotiating, but
what was Italy like when you went to go check the place out? Was it what I would imagine?
It was, it's a great lifestyle. I mean, it just, the kind of the village center and the going to the market each day to shop for your dinner. a lot of walkability. It's just it's fantastic. Technogym headquarters there, and they have most of the European market tied up. They're still making inroads to this country with their technology, but so we're trying to make sure we get the very best equipment and the best facilities.
One of the things I noticed about Technogym and being in London, being able to work out at the same gym that Daniel went to, was how efficient the space is with their equipment. It doesn't take up a bunch of space, but it gives you all the room,
especially on the cardio. Yeah. Quiet, small.
Yeah, so I could imagine the weight room you have out at Ponte Vedra. I don't know how you're going to expand that with some of the remodeling, but
the new gym is about 3 times the size of the old gym.
Wow.
With our lap pools going from 4 lanes to 6 lanes, 4 group exercise rooms, a climbing wall, cold plunge, sauna, steam in the bathrooms, locker rooms. So it's going to be really exceptional space, and Technogym, they do a great job.
I was out at the Inn and Club in May doing a staycation, which, by the way, one of the best places around to do a staycation. Just a little plug for y'all. And I was in the weight room at that time, and it was packed.
The old one or the new one?
The old one.
Yeah, right.
And it was packed. I mean, there were a lot of people, to your point, people want to get up early, get a nice workout in, go lay by the pool or lay on the beach, have a nice lunch. The whole healthy thing, you could see it out there even.
Well, Ponte Vedra's really been on the cutting edge. When we acquired it, I guess in '84, it really, cocktail hour was the most active thing that happened, and laying by the pool and drinking cocktails. We built the first comprehensive gym there on that property, and that really took off, and it really started to change the dynamics of the community. We have since enlarged the gym, I guess, 3 or 4 times, and now again we're tripling the size. The spa will be, increasing substantially. So I think Ponte Vedra has the chance of becoming a health destination, a feel-good resort, where you can really get good health, nutrition advice.
The demand's through the roof, Mayor.
Right.
The amount of wealth in business that has moved to Northeast Florida.
Right.
And there's just not enough location. There's not enough places to be able to get what they expect.
I think there's a huge opportunity there. We've demonstrated that through our history. And I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah,
it's going to get better.
I'm super excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
2-year wait. We got 2 years to go.
We'll do the ribbon cutting, and then we'll do the pull-up contest.
Okay.
Same
and then
day.
we'll get a massage.
You ready?
Get a massage. The other thing I tried to do is book a massage, and they were like, "Okay, this is about 4 months.
2 months out.
Yeah, like okay, right. You got to call.
Yeah. So weekdays are easier for that. Weekends are. That's why we're expanding the spa. I had 19 treatment rooms to the spa because the demand is huge.
Right.
It's good.
And you won't have a problem filling that up either.
I hope not.
It's going to be amazing.
We're banking on that. We're spending a lot of money out there.
That's awesome. So how are the car washes going?
Car wash is good. I think I'm a little biased, obviously, but we buy the best equipment. We have the best facilities, and I think we've got the most well-trained staff. We've really tried to up the game of the car wash business. I think historically car washes, I hate to generalize, but they were mom and pops that didn't reinvest in their people or their equipment. We thought there was an opportunity to really make it a first-rate experience with first-rate equipment and chemicals. And so we have 20 now open in this Northeast Florida region. And it's a membership-driven business model, which is, I think, a great value for the consumer, and it works well for us. So we're excited to be in the business. It's a good complement to what we do. Gasoline reached peak demand probably in 2018. It continues to diminish nationally. We see it in our stores. Everyone in our business sees it. So really spreading out our footprint, pursuing car wash business, more made-to-order food in the stores, a more robust store offering are things we can do to offset a declining fuel market. So we're excited to be in that business. And
I was a complainer. I knew who the boss was, so I was very concerned that the dryer said 60 seconds on the thing, but it was like a sped up 60 seconds. Yeah. So I was calling him, I didn't get my full 60 seconds of my dry. And he goes, okay, next time you go through, I want you to start your stopwatch. And it was 60 seconds. 60 seconds. But I was like, man, there is no way.
This is after complaining about the square pizza.
Right. I know the one, I use the one on Hodges.
Beach and Hodges?
Yeah.
And there's a new one on JTB and Hodges.
Well, that's the one, JTB and Hodges.
Right.
And I'll grab my cookies and get a car wash too, get some fuel there.
Right.
So.
Good. Your
Doing a lot of great things.
That's sweet. Listen,
through Gate.
we've got you covered. Then you go to Ponte Vedra
got
for
it.
the
I know.
weekend.
Thought of
Is
it all.
Cookie?
Yeah.
Even my favorite energy drink is in there, so I can stop in and get one
Okay.
of those in the
Yeah.
morning. Or
Good. We want to be there for you, TJ.
There
We
you
want
are.
to meet all of your needs.
So we asked, we got a little bit of time left for you to bring in some pictures for us to see, just to see if you have anything interesting that we can talk about. I didn't know if you had brought in a couple
Yeah, I did. I
photos
did
for
bring
us
some photos
to talk
but
about.
I brought something special for you, Daniel.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, this is a little gift for you. And so Daniel,
This is kind of what I'm
Is this where
concerned
you get
about.
scared?
Yeah,
Yes.
it
The
is.
point.
So
in time
Daniel,
where you-
just a little story. So Daniel, we've gone on these ski trips, and for years, and so it was a nice day. We thought we'd get a group picture, and on the ski mountain, and the photographer said, now he arranged us, as a bunch of guys, and he arranged us on the mountain, and he's pretty authoritative. Like, you go here, you go there, and they put Daniel.
Wait, you got
Wait,
a
a
snow globe?
globe?
It's a snow globe ornament with Daniel's picture. This is our picture, but they got Daniel in a really compromising position on his knees
Can I see that?
in front of the group. And I just wanted Daniel to have that.
Pass that over.
yeah,
here.
it's
Yeah, somehow this photo keeps coming up.
I
Like
need to see this.
every once in a while,
Look at Daniel. You got to see Daniel. You probably
can't.
can't pick up on the camera.
Well,
But
we'll get
you
some pictures for the.
You need to
folks
pass
now.
it over. He needs to see you on.
Why are you so reluctant to let me hold this?
It's not. I mean,
Not a great picture
yeah,
of
it's
Daniel.
great.
Is this something I can keep and put on my Christmas
Listen,
tree?
I have it in digital format. I'm happy to
Okay.
share.
Yeah.
Any viewers that want it, I've got it. I can
T-shirts.
I can email it. I've got coffee mugs in my office with that picture. But we've had a lot of fun with that. So that's good.
every
But
once in a
that's for
while
your
I
Chri-
get
that's
coffee
for your
mug
Christmas
You don't mind
tree.
if I hold on to
You
this?
can hold
do you?
on to it. That's for sure.
And Rebecca needs to put that on the tree, and I'm going to hold her accountable.
Oh, I'm sure
to make
she
sure
will.
it's on the tree.
Yeah,
I'll be
that's
disappointed if I
exactly
make it.
what-
Yeah, so good.
Uh,
Yeah.
Do you have any pictures that
Well,
you brought?
did you have a
I
couple
don't know
more?
if I have any other
thought
pictures.
you did. Okay.
I don't know if I
All
have-
right.
Well, I brought some pictures. I said bring pictures, and I had a hard time finding pictures, but I've got a picture here that is a lot of fun. This is me and Dad and me when I was a kid, when Gate was
Wow.
early in its infancy, and
Is that the headquarters?
that was our headquarters at the time.
Wow.
Same
That's
location in
crazy.
Mandarin. Yeah. Here's a picture of the boys. We do these excursions every.
These dudes, I'm telling you what, man,
They're just
they've got
fun.
the world in the palm of their hand. They good looking,
Yeah.
smart guys that everybody loves to be around.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, here's
That's Kent. I know you met.
Okay, I met Connor.
and there's the staff of my staff at the City Hall. I felt
Man,
so fortunate to work with some of the finest people.
I recognize
in our
a
city.
few of those people.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this photo. You have Misty Skipper, who
Yep.
is the incoming chair
Yep,
of the
yep.
chamber. Susie Wiles
Yep. There she
Chief
is
of
in the
Staff
flesh, most
at-
powerful woman in the world.
in,
Yep.
in the White House. Carrie Stewart, who's leading
Miller
Miller's
Electric,
innovation
yeah,
stuff. You got Mark Bashero, who's leading your
Yeah,
security
yeah,
at Gate, and
yeah.
Rick Mullaney, Adam Hollingsworth, Steve Deebenow, all of these folks. It's just
like the
hard to
dream
believe
team.
when
Let
you
me
go
tell you,
back. Yeah.
We had a great group of folks, and I felt so fortunate to work with such outstanding people, and we have carried through time with our friendships, which has been just fantastic. So I'm proud of that picture. I'm proud of that group, and I'm proud of each of them and what they've done and what they've become leaving the mayor's office.
It's pretty incredible.
Well, I've got another photo that I think you're going to be proud of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's,
I didn't know it went that way. I thought I brought the photos.
I mean, you don't have.
You gotta bring
we don't-
photos
if,
too?
if you don't want me to show it, I won't show it.
Well, I'd like to see what it is first.
That's not how this works, John.
I mean,
This is unfiltered stories.
Oh,
you
okay.
know, when I think about, power, strength, when we were on our leadership trip, and you get surveys back from
Yeah.
people
Oh.
that give surveys. And one of the surveys
I think I know where we're going.
comes back and is like, this is the most amazing trip ever. Only thing that was, what I'd say maybe we could work on is a little distracting is how big John Peyton's muscles look when he's just standing up there in front of people that are, and somebody on my staff comes and goes, "Can you believe somebody wrote this?" And I looked at it, I went, "That was John Peyton." John wrote that. We had a good laugh about that, but
Yeah, Kelly even thought she knew who wrote it. Yeah.
She had theories.
She had
out there
theories
as
on
to
who would write this.
Was, distracted by your
yeah.
huge muscles in front of the.
In fact, I ran into that person last week. One of them, you thought, it's funny. It's great. Yeah.
So, do you want to see it or no?
Sure.
I mean, maybe we do it.
I don't know what's in that
I
envelope.
think you're gonna love it.
It just shows how huge, when his muscles are. I don't know. Do you remember that?
That's a horrible picture. That's Missy's fault.
That is not a horrible picture.
That's a horrible picture.
Like the prime of life.
That's a horrible picture. Oh gosh.
Look at that chest, man. He's
You
sick.
can't help it. He's just poking.
I know
out.
exactly where these pictures came from, and we're going to have some accountability for this. My brother decided to use our Christmas party at Gate as a roast of me, and that picture was
Now
the one that
just be a little bit more transparent here.
Yeah. Okay.
That what usually happens at
Well,
your
I
Christmas
usually
party?
roast everybody else,
Yes.
but that's not
for
germane
years,
to the topic.
For years. I went to this roast and I was like, I got to get out of here. And I was a guest of
did
Gate.
he roast you?
It was brutal. And that's one thing about this dude. Love him to death. And if you can't bring your A game, you will get ripped to shreds.
Right.
And so you got to be able to come
Listen,
back.
I just like holding my friends accountable, and so I do the same thing at work. We need to be very transparent about some of our weaknesses.
I mean, there was so much just going on. I cannot believe these people and they all have to sit there and take it.
Can't do
because
anything
the boss is literally roasting them.
So Forrest, who fancies himself as a comedian, he actually did stand-up comedy for a while. He felt this pent-up demand for someone to take the microphone and have their turn. And it was vicious. I mean, he went to town. I just sat there and took it. But he did a great job. It was a lot of fun.
I heard about it. I mean, it was out there.
It was brutal.
There was a comeback, and all the Gate employees.
They were jumping out of their chairs. I mean, finally, someone's is getting this guy back, because I would hold the microphone. There's nothing they could do. They just sit there and take it every year. So it all washed out, and
we're all square.
licked my wounds. And
What a fun culture, though, creating that opportunity to be able to interact like that with employees.
No,
and friends
listen. Gate is a very large family environment, and I say, look, when you say family, it's not all rosy. Families can be rough on each other, and it's not always hunky dory. And I said the same here. We expose our weaknesses and our idiosyncrasies, and we celebrate those, and that's so we've got a great team. And
I got to tell you, the team that you have built is incredible.
We've got good people.
The future is so bright. Yeah.
Let's hope so. Yeah. Let's hope so. Yeah.
Well, I would just say this has been a lot of fun.
We knew it would be.
I love the fact, we've got so much history of being in battles together, and that's where you grow true friendships.
Right.
And I remember people would tell me that when I was on city council and John was the mayor, I don't even understand why you're supporting him, because he's never going to talk to you again. He's not your friend. He acts like he's your friend, but he's not. And I don't ever talk to any of those people anymore.
Right.
And I haven't talked to them in 25 years, and I'm still hanging with John, learning from him, just appreciating the friendship, even the fun, going after each other. And
we have good
it
times.
means a lot, Mayor.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, listen, watching you and your service, city council was kind of at the beginning, but the legislative time and leading the chamber, and I think it's one of the best jobs there is in Northeast Florida, is being able to sell our city and represent our city and help inspire the way it grows and how it grows. So you're doing a great job with that. And it's been really fun watching that. I wasn't really looking for community service much after City Hall, but I did spend a time with Chamber, primarily because Daniel was there. I just enjoyed working with him and the team you've built. You've built an amazing team.
Yeah.
Really, you've got
Very
a great board of directors, and so the mayor's lucky to have you here and helping and craft our city. It's good.
Yeah. So I think it's another great episode on Speakeasy Jacks, just for people to know who John Peyton is, not just what they read in the paper or see on TV. And I think everybody has kind of a picture of who you are as a person.
Hopefully not that
as
picture.
A dad.
Yeah, you never want to see that picture again. Although I did hold it up and they zoomed in on it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
We'll have to go to the edit room for that.
that's hitting the edit room floor.
That's right.
Come on, man.
No,
People want to see that. All right. Well, anyway, thank you so much for spending an hour with us.
Enjoyed it.
It means the world to me.
No.
it's been a lot of fun. I think the citizens of Jacksonville will love to hear it.
When you get that Techno Gym stuff in, we'll have to come over for a workout.
Have to come try it out.
Do a pull-up
absolutely.
contest and have a lot of fun.
We've got plenty of time to prepare.
Yes,
So,
sir.
All right.
Good. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mayor.
Good.
Appreciate
Good.
it.
No, good being with you. Yeah, good.
Good to see you. Good.
This episode is brought to you by Liberty Landscape Supply. These guys are the go-to experts in Northeast Florida for everything from plants, trees, mulch, aggregate, pavers, you name it. They don't just sell stuff, they actually help you figure out what you need. Whether you're going full on do it yourself or you want someone else to do the installation, Liberty's got you covered. Hit up Liberty Landscape Supply at libertylandscapesupply.com or swing by one of their locations in Jacksonville, St. Augustine, or Fernandina.